Hi there, everybody. This is Jeremy Siskind. I'm the author of Playing Solo Jazz Piano Fundamentals Book 1 and Book 2, all available now at jeremysiskind.com or wherever fine books are sold. So today I wanted to talk with you a little bit about Freddie Green style playing. And so Freddie Green, if you're not aware, was the guitarist for the Count Basie band. And he is one of the most famous and important jazz musicians who arguably you can almost not hear. Because if you think about it, the electric guitar was not really coming into vogue until like the 50s or so. And so Freddie Green was known for being felt but not heard. And the famous thing that he was felt but not heard doing was playing quarter notes, 4 to the floor. So those quarter notes would line up with a bass line in 4, for instance, or the usually the ride cymbal on keeping time on the ride cymbal would be at least every quarter note. And so the guitar would just kind of reinforce that rhythm, make it a little bit groovier, a little bit richer, a little bit more sonorous. And so Freddie Green was this like really key part of one of the most important rhythm sections in jazz history, but isn't necessarily somebody who you'll hear in particular. So like I said, Freddie Green style playing means that we're playing all 4 quarter notes. Now, there's a bunch of different ways that we can do this as a jazz pianist, and so I want to show you some ways plus some variations. Now, one thing to keep in mind, no matter what you do, is that this style kind of relies on a lighter touch. So I'm going to be using thinner voicings. Usually maybe just the 3rd and the 7th of the chord, or if I'm playing solo piano, just the root 3rd and 7th, maybe one more note. But we don't really want to play Freddie Green style with a big, 6-7 note voicing. Here, I'll let you guys see what I'm doing. I don't want to do this. It's going to draw too much attention. That rhythm is too consistent for it to make any sense to play, that much. So if I'm playing solo, maybe I'll play just the root 7th and 3rd. And I'll play a blues in F. So it's just such a nice feeling. It really puts the spotlight on your improvisation rather than on the accompaniment. Just notice how different that feels than if I'm playing like a more bebop comping kind of accompaniment. Also very nice, but just a different feeling. We're starting to now hit offbeats in the left hand, and so that just puts a different framing on everything. Now, some things that you might have noticed me doing in that Freddie Green accompaniment. So, first of all, I'm playing no more than 3 notes at a time. Usually the root or the 5th of the chord on bottom, and then the 3rd and the 7th generally on top. So that's F7. I might do this for B flat 7, so I've got the 5th now on bottom, but still the 3rd and the 7th. But but that just allows me not to move much. Same thing when I get to C7, maybe I'll just do this with the 5th in bottom, the 3rd and the 7th. Right, we refer to these as shell voicings generally when we just use the 3rd and the 7th and not really the color tones of the chord. Okay, so you want to keep it really nice and sparse. It is optional whether you roll this or not, right? So if you think about the guitar, of course, guitarists are strumming chords. It's not necessary when we play this style on the piano to roll, and I believe it's a very fast strum, so you don't really hear it as, you know, or something like that. But especially for some of you who might not be able to reach those tenths. And by the way, I did a video recently about reaching, you know, kind of alternate things to do if you can't reach tenths. But now the key, and I said this in the other video as well, the key is really that you want to hit, and I believe it should be the top note on the beat. So it's not just like it's around the beat, I don't know, but it's so the other two notes are basically like pickups before the beat. I don't think I've ever tried it. I'm going to try right now rolling down. I don't think it's going to work as well. To me, it's a little bit awkward, but hey, anybody can come up with their own style. The other way to do this, and I like inserting this in to kind of just give a different effect, is to separate out the bottom note and then play the two top notes together. And you might have noticed that I inserted that a couple times when I was doing just a normal. And depending on how I'm feeling, I might put a little accent in there. And now what I'm doing is I'm really separating out of the bass and then not playing the bass note all throughout the measure. So maybe I'll play just one bass note. And we can kind of make this a little funky. So, like, even just with those small number of parts, there's so much to do. Now, one of the things that's really cool to do with the Freddie Green pattern, and you might think of this in a different category, but I think it's useful to think of it in terms of the Freddie Green pattern, is removing different beats. And I got inspired by Gene Harris, who does some of this on his solo Live at Maybach album. So we can take that 4-beat Freddie Green pattern, and we can practice removing each beat of the measure. So if we want it to sound very march-like, we can remove beat 4. These might all sound a little bit march-like, honestly. But kind of feels like a stop time. So take out beat 4, it has this really kind of sitting back, relaxed feeling. Or you take out beat 3, and it kind of makes da, da, da. Like it creates this group of 3. you take out beat 2. Feels really good. I like this one. Probably the weirdest one is taking out beat 1. Of course, you don't necessarily have to keep it consistent for a whole chorus or a whole section, exactly what you're going to leave out. But I think it's really kind of a nice effect. It has this feeling of more stillness. Should mention that whether you're playing in a group or playing solo piano, you can also play it more in the middle register with this Freddie Green. Kind of like playing solo, leaving out the bass notes here. All right, I'll show you one more thing, which I should have really prepared for, but I did not, in something consistent with my my channel, which is something I kind of got from my teacher Harold Danko, which is that you can actually strum the strings of the piano in imitation of Freddie Green. If you've never done this before, what you do is you hold down, preferably silently, the notes that you want to play. You're probably going to want to have a grand piano for this, although if you have an upright and you take out the top, in a lot of cases you are able to strum the strings. I have to look out for the bars in a grand piano, because you don't want to have to string across the bars. You want to have a nice opportunity to strum. But if you hold those two keys down, what it does is it lifts up the dampers. And so you're not going to get any resonance out of any of the strings other than the ones that for which you've held down the keys. I don't know how well that's picking up in any microphones. But that's kind of a cool way, a little bit of a special effect to create this real Freddie Green style with the strummed strings. A couple of recommendations there. So first of all, try to press it somewhat silently. Harold, my teacher at Eastman, was a fan of repressing it slightly with each time you strum the string. I think it just gave a little bit more reinforcement to each quarter note. He also was a big believer, and my experience reinforces this, of keeping it probably to just 2, maybe 3 notes. For whatever reason, the resonance seems to be distracted if you try to do this with too many strings. All right, I think that's it for my Freddie Green lesson. If you enjoyed this, first of all, any kind of comment, subscription, anything like that. If you want to put the word nectarine into the comments, that's fantastic. And of course, the best way to support this channel is to check out my potpourri of books, which make great holiday gifts for anybody. They don't have to play piano. It's just a joy, Take care, guys. Have a good one.